folks, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina, and I'm your host. I'm your Brains Coach, and just someone whose job it is to find all the different protocols from different sciences, but specifically neuroscience, integrative health, nutrition, performance, fitness, together all of this data and then translate them for you into simple protocols that I gather either from my own experience, my personal, from my clients, and then also reading a ton of books and blogs and listening to podcasts of different experts who also figured a lot of things out and achieved success. And all of it, folks, is to help you to bring all the cutting edge science that we have right now about how human body and brain work better and how they perform better. Bring all of that to you into your awareness, translate it into simple protocols so you could start benefit from them today, feeling, looking, and doing your absolute best. Because things can be easier things when we apply smart tools based on really good science and research. Some things just work better, like getting outside and seeing that morning light, like Andrew Huberman recommends. There is solid science behind it. Your brain, your whole well-being and performance depends on it. And so just spending, 5 minutes outside looking at the sun, well, maybe not directly, but exposing your eyes to the sun makes all the difference for your productivity, your mental health, and your sleep. But besides viewing light, folks, today, as you guessed from the title, we're talking about overwhelm and mental fatigue that oftentimes people are experiencing these days. A lot of my clients ask me about how do I create more time and energy? And I want to do more at night. I want to do some hobbies, learn a second language, learn an instrument, or just learn some hobby like woodworking, or just have time for myself. But I feel so exhausted from my day that I don't feel like doing anything except for maybe watching Netflix, browsing, social media and similar stuff, and then having some food and falling to sleep. And that all because, folks, that we are bombarded with so much information these days and so many to-dos and tasks and requests on our brain power, our mental capacity to think and make decisions and pay attention and learn and focus. And nobody taught us how to actually use those resources better, so we could save the energy where it's not needed to spend it, and then we can reinvest that energy that actually into things that matter to us, whether that's our hobby, our new business, or our family, our health. And it's all about this energy management. As you heard in our podcast, if not, please do come back to the episode we did on Friday, but search for Rich Davini in the episodes. And at the beginning of the episode, Rich, he is a retired Navy SEAL commander, very successful, and now works with businesses, helping to create high-performing teams and businesses in general. So he talks about, at the beginning of the episode, about this concept of energy management. Navy SEALs are able to accomplish seemingly impossible tasks on a impossible schedule because they know how to be on and off and how to manage and use that energy wisely. Kind of like your bank account. You get your energy and your mental capacities for the days, and it really matters how you use them. And that's what differentiates from all of the things that I read, and I interviewed experts who interviewed Olympic athletes and really top performance in the field. It all comes down to that energy and resource management, because human potential when it comes to physical stuff, your brain's ability to think, to make decisions, to learn, or our physical energy, it is all limited. And top athletes and top scientists and research and entrepreneurs that just learned how to use resources better. They didn't have more of them, not when it comes to physical stuff. They just learned how to use them better. And today I'm going to help you to learn how to use yours better. And first, folks, I want to start with my personal story, where I am right now. I'm working on developing a new brand around brain optimization, helping entrepreneurs, business owners, mission-driven people in general to learn all these best tools that are coming out of science and neuroscience and other sciences, like research labs, helping them to feel, do better, make better decisions, have more energy, have the clarity of mind, have clear thinking instead of foggy thinking, being able to focus and learn, all of that, right? And it requires me to think about a lot of different steps that I still don't understand completely, from marketing to building community to attracting audiences, to figure out the language so I could communicate the problem so people understand that there is a solution and not the solution that they're thinking about. And then I don't have a team right now, nor can I afford at the moment one. Well, maybe I need to team up with someone. I also need to think about all different collaborations and how to go about doing that. And then also, of course, I live right now in Brazil, and I'm figuring out where I'm going to live permanently long term because of war, because of visas. There's so much stuff going on, and very often I didn't have a clear answer. And so in my mind, there is like a whole bunch of things. And at some point I realized I wasn't managing that well. It just felt very overwhelming. Like there is just so much and I can't wrap my head around that. And there is always, new to do. And I don't really understand where that's going. And then there are also different small projects and I understand which one is going to pay off, which one should I pay attention to. And all this, visa and traveling and figuring out where I'm going to live sometimes at the same time. All of that makes it all complex. And of course, you probably in a very similar situation. Maybe, you're working, you're starting your business, you have your family. I work with a couple of dads, right? And then if you have small kids, young kids especially, and you have to manage teams and business projects and personal projects, like it's a lot of things. And so I did some reading, some research. I interviewed experts. I combined all this knowledge to help myself to create this system. So I could help others, my clients included, to create more clarity, to create more time, to create more energy and learn how to use those resources wisely. So at the end of the day, we can move things forward in the desired direction and also feel like we have time to just, take a breath and look around and enjoy life. And actually do something for ourselves, right? So now back to practical stuff. What did I learn? What am I using now? And what is very effective, and not just coming from my experience, but coming from top world experts on productivity and brain health and performance. So number one, what I did was I created a folder using PARA system, P-A-R-A, that is created by Tiago Forte. He is the author, top productivity expert, the author of Building Your Second Brain. And so this system, I pronounce it PARA system. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce it, but it's P-A-R-A. So you divide your life and your business into projects, P into areas of improvement, A into resources, R, and into archives, A. So P, for me, only first three for now make sense. So what I did is I divide projects. What are projects, right? I divided everything that I need to take action on into projects, but the project has to be specific. It has to be there has to be a goal. There has to be a specific deadline. And then, so for each project on my Google Drive, and you can use different systems, but what made it really simple, easy, and fast for me. On my Google Drive, I've created those folders, specifically 3: projects, areas of improvement, and resources. And project, again, is something very definite, like okay, let me think about one project. mastermind that we are creating with a partner of mine. And so I created a folder that is mastermind. It starts in a week. By the way, folks, if you want to join this mastermind, then it's business and lifestyle with other entrepreneurs working on goals and accountability, and combined with specific knowledge. My partner is going to be taking care of business part. I'm going to be taking care of lifestyle part. Anyhow, email me, angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com, or find me otherwise. So I created this folder, and everything like the questionnaire for people who wants to sign up, the plan for the mastermind, the schedule for the meetings. I created a WordPress file and I wrote it all down, what needs to be taken care of and when. And then I scheduled the things that have to be at a certain time, a certain, day. I put that into my calendar. So this is one project. Another project that I have is, creating a funnel for my offer, but basically creating my offer. And so the title of the folder is offer, and it has to be done by the end of the next week, the latest. And so I'm putting together also on my schedule things like do the research, in groups, ask the questions, put out the survey, like things like that. So there is a deadline, and there are actions that I need to take care of, and there is a outcome. There is an offer that I would need to put into my squeeze pages or landing pages and communicate through all kinds of different social media. Not sure if you hear this noise, but sometimes those motorcycles are super noisy. Anyhow, folks. So projects, right? Areas. What are areas? Areas are those things that you need kind of consistently be working on. Like one of those areas is health, and why you need to create the folder for those areas separately is because it's ongoing, but in order to maintain the area, you need to take actions. And so you create this folder. And also for me, it was just creating a file. Okay, what does it mean for me to maintain high levels of health, right? And I created this WordPress, again, not WordPress, but Word file, just simple file that type things in, like a note. And for me, it means at least 30 minutes of exercise. It means 8 hours of sleep. For me, it means meals on a regular basis. And I know exactly what goes into those meals. So that's one area of improvement. Another area of improvement is, for example, learning more about the brain. And so for that, I need to read at least one book a week. I also scheduled Google alerts for myself, so I read through the latest news and research that are worthy paying attention to. And for me, it also means reviewing my notes on what I read. So things like that, right? Those are areas of improvements. Those are not projects because they don't have a deadline, the finish line. They didn't have an outcome. It just continues. So other areas like your finances, your cash flow, other areas. One of the projects actually, for example, is moving to Cape Town, right? So this is a project with a deadline, with an outcome, and I put resources there. So you kind of like creating a structure around your life and business. And other things that don't fit in any of those areas or not important for the moment, guess what, guys? Forget about them. Clear your mind out of them. And also I have one note on my phone that is for random stuff. Just the ideas. Okay. This might be a good idea. Summit with experts on the topic of brain performance might be a great idea. So I wrote it down. And at the end of the week, usually Saturday, Sunday, I look through the notes, through those ideas. I'm like, okay, what should be maybe moved to projects and areas. And then we have resources, and resources are kind of things that I read, I'm curious about, and they are for specific areas like nutrition or brain nutrition or neuroscience of performance or hacks for workflow, different things that I'm just curious about. So the articles I read, posts from Instagram. I have Evernote app that is on my computer, that is on my phone. And so whatever I come up with, I either make a picture, a screenshot, and I put it all in that folder. with a specific topic, like for example, brain nutrition, and those are in resources. The difference from projects, big difference, they don't have any timeline, any specific, outcome. They don't even have like areas have to be maintained in any form. Those are just things that sometimes you might need for your projects, and it's kind of like a personal archive of your knowledge, but a little bit more structured. So that's how you start simplifying your life, folks. So I highly recommend you to just go to your Google Drive or whatever drive you have and create those folders, projects, areas, and resources. And also check out the book by Tiago Forte, Building Your Second Brain. And it is a very flexible system, but the core idea is to kind of folder your whole life and projects. And that will create this beautiful structure that now when you're working on something, you understand where it's going and what's the outcome and what's the next step. Or maybe it's just a resource and you're read this article and you're like, I'm just going to put it in my resources in that specific topic. So later, maybe in my writing or in my other projects, I can easily find it and use it in my work, right? So first, I would just create this structure in the most simplest way. If you are already overwhelmed, folks, you need to start very simple. The first day I used the system, what I did is I just created those folders and I didn't even put anything into them. I just kind of like thought about the idea. And then, once you have the folders, the next step is to list out all of your projects that need to be completed, that needs to be done, that have a specific outcome. And that doesn't have to be only work. It can be your life, with your spouse, with your kids. Like, what is the project that has an outcome, that has a specific, time frame that you're working on there? And then for areas that require constant maintenance, like your health or your fitness, also sometimes, of course, your relationships and your family, like your relationship maybe with your kids or your spouse, like what is the maintenance? Like you literally create the folder in your areas of improvement for example, your kids, and you schedule things. Because if you are overwhelmed and you're always trying to remember stuff, that is like having a room full of, boxes with shoes and clothing, and you're like living in this storage, right? You gotta take it out. You gotta create space before you can start seeing, where you are and what your apartment looks like and what you can do with it. So first, just clear out these boxes and put them somewhere so you don't have to be worried about forgetting them, right? Or thinking that, I'm not a good father because I'm not, spending time with my family. Well, then put it on schedule and then track it. And then if that thought comes back, you'll see on your calendar that you actually do spend time. And then you don't have to forget about it, because at the end of the day, being good in relationship or business, it's all about showing up. So that's step number one I did, and I'm recommending and working with all of my clients to do. It's very simple, folks. If you need more guidance on that, schedule our call and just reach out to me, Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com. I'm really easy to reach out to at the moment. I'm building my tribe, my multi-million-dollar brand. So at some point, not going to be that easily available. So use the best knowledge that I have right now while it is easily available. Now, after I created all these folders for my projects, my business, areas of improvement, resources, first of all, I felt at ease almost instantly, because I got it, it's structured. I'm taking care of everything that is important to me. It's listed, it's scheduled, done. Now the next step I did, I did it some time ago, but I also do with my clients. You gotta minimize your decisions. Anything that is a routine, like your waking up time, your pre-bed routine, your food is a huge one, right? Your meals, your groceries, anything that you do on a regular basis, if it's not automated or routinized and the same, and you still have to make decisions about the clothes that you wear, the makeup you put on, the food you eat, it is gonna overwhelm you when your life gets busy with different personal and professional and business projects, right? So what you do is, for example, with groceries, do groceries once a week, buy the food, never think about it again. Meal prep, batch it. I cook, for example, my beans and my eggs and the most important stuff once a week, right? So I cook a lot of beans, I cook a lot of eggs because that takes always time. And I buy groceries for once a week, and that's it. I don't think about what I'm going to have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. I already bought food for that. I pre-cooked a lot of stuff, and I know exactly what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So many decisions I eliminated. Plus, it's going to prevent you from overeating, because the more you think about food and what you need to eat, the more there is a chance to overeat. So minimize decisions, your clothing, I don't know, your again, waking up routine, your dress routine, your going to bed routine, your, I don't know, exercise, routinize it thing, especially if this is not your area of focus at the moment. So unload those decisions so there is more available for things that truly matter for you right now, right? So minimize decisions. Then the next big thing is eliminate task switching and do unitasking. So what it means is, okay, there is a task that needs to be done. So you start, like, for example, if you're reaching out to potential customers on LinkedIn, so you decided to, let's say, reach out to 100. Okay, so this is the task and you do it till completion, like drink water, go to the bathroom, but that's it. Social media, schedule it. If it's for work, what I do before I pick up my phone, use social media for work, I ask myself, what is it you're gonna do there? And do I need to make a post? Okay. Do I need to check out influencers in my field to see what they're up to? Okay, this is the task, and those are the people you're going to check out, right? Do I need to see whether there are comments or not? Like, a couple of times per day, then you do exactly that. No scrolling. I'm very, sometimes I even write it down. Like, this is you're going to do when you open your social media accounts. So unitask and eliminate distractions, right? Do one thing at a time. And then things like social media, have closed door policy. That's the idea, folks. Meaning, when you work, you work. When you focus on one task, you focus on what task. It takes, some experts say 10, 15, 20 minutes to get back to the level of insight and depth of work and the quality of work once you are interrupted. And a lot of times, if you always are interrupted, whether you interrupt yourself or other people interrupt you, or some notifications that are still on for some reason, guess what's going to happen? You know that you're never going to get to the depths of insight that you are capable of. You're always going to be on the surface. It's like the gold is deeper, but you're never able to get it because you don't dig that deep. You're always on the surface, being always interrupted. Click, 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 right? All the notifications. If you're still doing that, no wonder your brain is all overwhelmed and like confused because you're task switching so much. It's like one moment you are checking out social media and thinking about, your weight loss. The other moment you need to work on this big project for the clients overseas. The more you do this stuff, the more confused your brain is, and the more energy your brain actually spends on its work. Because every time the brain task switches and you have to switch your attention from one thing to the other, there is actually energetic cost and metabolic cost. So if you do that all the time, the more you do it, the more resources are necessary you waste. And guess what, guys? Then you don't have time for yourself. At the end of the day, you feel like your brain is completely wiped out. It's all because of those interruptions and task switching. So schedule a task or work on it. If it's, calls or emails, or now that you need to take care of other people, well, then just block it out and take care of all the people and all the incoming signals, right? And then back to your deep work, your quiet time, your closed door policy. So task switching. And the last but not least, folks, it's batching things. Like if you notice that, for example, you check your email, you need to check your email more or less often, or you need to do your podcast, or you need to do some writing, or you need to do some social media, or you need to do some research. And it's like, every day a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So maybe schedule it once a day at least, or schedule it once a week. Like for example, preparing for a podcast and reaching out to guests once a week for me, right? And then I just fully dig deep and I get a lot of insights while working on that for a couple of hours. Or writing a post for social media, again, once a week, and then you just distribute the publishing of them. Or creating videos, I'm still working on that, once a week, and then you republish them. And again, you just get so much more efficient with doing this task. Your brain gets more efficient. There is, again, more and more research confirming that we get more and more efficient when we engage with the similar task for a prolonged period of time. So unitask, batch things, Tim Ferriss is a huge fan of that, and for good reason. And that's how you free up your mental space, your energy, your decision making, your good decisions. And at the end of the day, you would feel like, I actually have time to breathe and think about other things and where my life is going, where my business is going. I actually have time to come up with better ideas, right? So to recap this episode, it's been a long one, folks, and I'm at my capacity to speak because it's all recorded live. So number one, folks, if you're feeling overwhelmed all over the place, you're mentally fatigued, you never seem to have time for anything, to even breathe, right? It's like decisions, and then to-dos. You don't have time for yourself or for life, as sometimes it feels. So what you do, you take your life, you take your business, you take your health, and you put your projects, areas of improvement, and resources in those 3 folders. Archives, by the way, in the parasystem PRA are things that no longer matter, but you don't want to lose them in case, in future you need to use some resources or some project, like pieces of project for other projects. So things that no longer matter, like for example, you finish the project, you put it in the archive, and so at some point later you might use it, but at the moment it's no longer relevant. So what archives are for. So put your life, your business into projects, areas of improvement that needs continuance, investment like your health or your family, resources. Those are the things that you learn and you want to have them somewhere for reference for your projects or your areas of improvement. So that's number one, folder it all up and start putting things there, schedule so it's not in your brain, but somewhere else, and you don't need to be worried about forgetting things. Then the second thing is eliminate unnecessary decisions. So routinize everything, automate everything that you do on a regular basis, like your food, your groceries, your fitness, your waking up time, your bath time, anything that is repeated, make it automated, and try to delegate as much as possible to other people, companies, meal deliveries, whatever that might be. And number 3, you stop task switching and interruptions. You are literally, first of all, wasting your brain's energy. Second, you're wasting decisions. And number 3, you're never getting into the deeper insights that you possess inside of you because you always task switch and interrupt. And the fourth one is unitask and batch. Put similar stuff together, one block of time either in your day, like maybe emails or calls, or maybe one block of time in your week, like maybe reaching out to potential collaborations or recording your podcasts, and see how you become even more effective with that and how you free up more and more time. So again, you can invest that time and energy into your personal projects, into your family, into coming up with ideas, into enjoying life, like so many things that life has to offer. But we just put ourselves into a corner, not learning how to use time, our brain space effectively, and then we feel like there is just so much and I can't possibly take on more, and I need to, right? So use the systems, they work. It's advice from top experts and researchers, and it's proven by practice of hundreds of thousands of people. So use that. If you have any questions, Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com. Schedule our call and ask your questions, and I'll walk you through those steps in your specific situations. So Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com. And also, folks, don't forget to share it. Maybe you can share it with your friend who is just feels like he's never or she's never has time, or maybe they're so overwhelmed and always busy and always rushing and just stressed, right? So share it with your friends, with your family member. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your kids. So share these resources. It would help me to help more people, and you will be helping more people by doing so. And by that, we'll create a better world with happy people who are passionately working on something awesome. So share, reach out, and have an awesome, clear day when you have time to breathe. Thank you, folks, and talk to you very soon.